to everyone today. It's not my day.
Okay guys, we're underneath the tunnel.
Okay, maybe turn that way for me. Watch your step as you come down.
Thank you.
Step.
We're on the tunnel. So that's the next question. It's very dark, pitch dark. So can you stay on my right? That's it, I can hold you.
Now, I have a very important question to ask. Is everyone feeling comfortable at the moment?
Yes.
Yeah. If at any point that you're not, please let me know and I can get you out if we need to. As we are walking through the drives, if you are a bit taller, please watch your heads because there are some low-hanging beams. There's also a self-locking door. Just make sure that you hold that open for the person behind you until everyone's through. Ready to go?
Yes.
Excellent. Follow me this way.
We're underground tunnel. It's so dark. Oh, it's good to experience this, sweetheart. We're on the mine tour here at Ballarat.
All right, just holding this door open for the person behind you.
Wow, this is the lady.
I always like coming down here in the summer, but I always find that I get very sick from going from hot to cold,
Yeah, that's
multiple times a day.
Oh,
easy way to get a cold.
Pardon?
Easy way to get a cold.
Yeah.
we're underground, but it is air conditioned.
No, it's the
Not air
natural
conditioning,
temperature.
Oh, it's not?
because we're
Yeah.
down
Oh, it's the
underground.
real.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
That's
sorry.
a real thing.
if you went down further,
Yeah.
it'd get hotter because you're getting closer to
Ah,
the
of course.
centre.
Ah, okay, yeah. I thought it was air conditioned.
No, it's good. It stays between 15 and 17 all year round.
Yeah.
So in the winter when it gets to freezing.
Yeah, it would actually
It's warm
be
in
quite
here.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Alright, come on in. If you're a bit shorter, come to the front. If you're a bit taller, go to the back or the sides. Just so that everyone can see. So the front's here.
Ah,
Yeah. Come on in so that everyone can see. We've got a nice and small group, which is good. Yeah. Alright. So this here is what we call a mining platform. Now these were used in company mines so that the miners could go up and down the levels that they were working on and then down into the drives. This here is an original mining platform. It's part of what was the North Nomberby mine, which was running from 1902 to 1911. Now, this is what we call a safety cage. This is what the men would go up and down those levels in that shaft. Having a look at that, how many people do you think could fit in there?
4.
4 close. This could fit about 5 people in it. Alright. Now, if we follow this up, that shaft, up in that cage, we would be right next to that sign that says mine tour starts here if we went 60 feet up.
Okay.
On the other end, if we go down, we can go 1,100 feet below the surface. Now, just to give you a bit of an idea about how far down that is compared to where we are, this is a map of the North Nomberby mine. It goes over 11 levels. Right now, we are here on its first level, which is at 60 feet. And it goes down to that 11th level at 1,100 feet. Now, in Ballarat, we can't take you, well, in this mine, we can't take you any further than 300 feet. Because at 300 feet in Ballarat, we also have our water table. So if you're digging below the water table without a working water pump, what do you think's happened?
You drown.
You drown, that's right, it's very dangerous. So that North Nomberby mine from there down is filled with water, so it's a bit too dangerous to take everyone in there. I'm sure you all don't want to go for a bit of a swim in disgusting water. We do have a mining platform that does work to show you what this one would have looked like though. So,
When did they dig the mines?
what do you mean?
What year?
1902 to
1902.
1911. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, come through.
After you, sir. Wow.
Come in. Not going to bite anyone.
No, you go back.
9, 10, 11, 12. Missing 2 more. There we go. 13. 14. Lovely. All right. So this is also a mining platform. It's usually a lot louder than what it is now. And that's because our pump isn't working. So to your left, this is our pump shaft, and it's also our air shaft as well. So it allows air to go throughout the whole mine. But if we were in a drive that was going for several hundred metres, in these mines you would have air pipes to help push that air through. And often in times of disasters, men would bang on those air pipes to let people down the drives know that there was something happening. Now our pump actually sits on the surface. Hopefully it starts working again today for you. But it's a big beam and it rocks back and forth. Did you all see the beam next to the poppet head tower? Yeah, they can do 10 to 12 of those strokes per minute. And in each minute it used to be able to take out about 560 litres of water. So it's a great way to make sure that if you were digging below that water table, your mine wouldn't flood. Now, for company miners in these days, they do get paid a weekly wage. They worked 8-hour shifts and 6 days a week. They wouldn't work on a Sunday because Sundays they'd go to church. They got paid roughly £2.06 for this a week, which would be the equivalent to about $80,000 a year in today's money. It was a great income for them, especially if they had a wife and the average family of 8 kids to feed.
Would they get paid in pounds?
£2.06.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Now for these miners to go up and down, as I said, they did catch a safety cage. Now for this to go up and down, we would need to ring a bell according to our shaft signals. An engine driver would sit on the surface and hear us and respond and perform the action we want them to do. Now we're going to raise our cage, which means we are going to ring our bell 3 times. Our engine driver will hear us and respond. And up it will go. So it has this safety bar here that locks into place so that no one falls out. And it has a big metal plate on the top so that if you are standing in there and rocks do start to fall, you are protected. Now travel time for a company miner is not included in your shift. It started and ended in your workspace. So people were often impatient at the end of the day. They would go on top of that big metal plate and it was quite dangerous because rocks would fall on them. Now if for some reason your cage was not working, your emergency exit is your ladder here. Now for a fit person to climb 1,000 feet down, it's going to take you about an hour.
Wow.
1,000 feet up, it's going to take you about an hour and a half. Sound good? Yeah. We're all hoping that the cage would be working all the time. Yeah, I would be too.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you would have very sore feet. And just think, as you're climbing, if you're trying to get out there in a rush, someone's probably climbing above you.
Oh.
So your hands are going to get stood on. Now, ladders in these days were actually quite dangerous. A lot of deaths happened because people fell off ladders. So, yeah, I'll prefer the cage. Yeah. All right. Now, no matter if you're a company miner getting paid a weekly wage or an independent miner trying to find your own fortune, you're looking for one thing in Ballarat. What are you looking for? Gold. Who wants to go and see some gold? Yes.
Go.
As we are walking past, to your right-hand side, you'll see our crib cutty. That's where the company miners would spend their half-hour meal break that they got for their shift. Oh wow.
You can just take photo. Oh, yeah, you go ahead. I will benefit for your lights. Perfect. I've got that.
Okay.
Oh, this footsteps. This is all the steps that I'm walking through. Oh, the way there's a tunnel there.
Alright.
Real gold.
Oh.
This is my torch is running out a bit.
Oh.
This is gold, and this is what all the miners came to Ballarat to find. Now, this is real gold. It's about $2,000 worth of gold. However, it was not found here, because if it was found here, I would be taking it with me. I found it. This was put here by Sovereign Hill just so that we can teach you about how gold is found in this particular area of Ballarat. Now, this rock around here is what we call siltstone. Throw it away, it's not what we want or what we're looking for, and we would dispose of that in those big mullock heaps next to that Poppet Head Tower. We want this rock here that my torch is now on. Now, it's very hard and very sharp and white and shiny as I run my torch across it, and it starts with a Q. Does anyone know what it is? Quartz. That's right, and this is what we call a quartz reef. Now, generally in the area of Ballarat, if you find a quartz reef like this one that runs on a 45-degree angle on a north to south direction, there's generally going to be gold inside of that.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Now, do you think that the gold is found in large chunks or nuggets like that all the time? No, it'd be nice if you found a little nugget. No, it's found very small within the quartz. So what you would have to do is take your quartz up to the surface to a battery house where it would get crushed down and the gold would get taken out of that. Now, for 1 tonne of quartz in the area of Ballarat, the average amount of gold you would get from it is roughly 10 grams. 10 grams of gold for an ounce of quartz. It might not seem like a lot, but it is actually quite a good yield to have. And it's worth a lot of money as well. So it's worth getting out and taking up to the surface. If you're at a company mine, you often had your own battery house to use. Independent miners, they had to pay to get their quartz crushed, and the original public battery was actually in the Sovereign Hill car park. So if you all drove here, you probably parked your car where that battery house was. Now, as well as if you're a company miner, does it matter how much gold you're finding?
No, you're getting paid.
You're getting paid, that's right. So it doesn't matter whether you find gold or not because you don't get to keep any of it anyway. What happens if you're an independent miner and you're not finding any gold?
You go broke.
You go broke, that's right. What can't you buy if you don't have any money?
Nothing.
Food, that's right. And what happens if you do have that wife and 8 kids to support?
Hungry.
They're going to go hungry, that's right. So is it sounding good to be a company miner at this point?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, as well as that, they were also provided with new technology that was coming through to get to the quartz and therefore the gold in ways that they thought were quite safe and cost effective as well. We'll go have a look at one of those ways. So if you follow me this way, and if you're at the back and you wanted to have a closer look at the gold, you can. I've left my watch at home, so I'm just going to wing what time I'm at. So they're the original size of the drives in Ballarat. You would often have to crawl or crouch through them, and they were 30 to 40 inches wide, making kids really ideal to put in. But if you're in a company mine, you usually have to be around the age of 14 to start working in a company mine. So it wasn't as bad as some of those coal mines in England where they had the little kids going in.
Levi, you gonna climb in?
This is the hammer and gad, or the hammer and tap. I'll explain what that is a little bit later when we get to our next display.
I shall explain.
Bring my drinks to me.
Oh, it's probably to make a hole and put dynamite in.
Oh, cute.
Plus the rock out of it.
So 2 ore carts can hold 1 tonne of quartz. So just imagine taking those up to the surface to get processed and only getting about 10 grams of gold from it, which would be the tip of your pinky finger. How does that sound? Yeah? All right?
They hard work.
So usually they would have people pushing those, but in some mines they did have animals, and those animals would actually come down in those mine cages, the safety cages. So they would tie the horse's legs up, blindfold it, and then put it down bum first into the mine.
My God, it's a lot of tunnel, isn't it?
You were the one that worked in the mine, weren't you? I said you were the one that worked in the mines.
Yeah.
Thank you. Remember who it was. Come in so that everyone can see. All right. So this is what we call a pneumatic drill. Now these are still being used in modern mining today, except they look a little bit different, and they were created to put these holes in the wall here. Why would you be putting a hole in a wall?
Dynamite.
To blow the dynamite.
That's right. And before dynamite was around, you would use black powder, which is gunpowder, and that was a lot more volatile, so it was quite dangerous to use. Now, previous to this drill, the men used what we call the hammer and gad, which is what we saw as we were walking past on the left-hand side. That's where one person would hold a big metal rod in the wall and turn it a quarter each time another man swung a hammer. They did this in very poor spacing with very poor lighting, so lots of hands and heads were hit. It'll take just over 2 days to put patterns of either 7 or 12 holes in the wall, each hole being 4 to 5 inches deep for them, and 2 men needed to be paid by the company. This drill came about. It took just over 2 days to put 2 hours, sorry, to put the holes in the wall. Only one person needed to be paid, and no one was being hit anymore. Does that sound better?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They were wrong when they thought that it was safer. This drill actually has a nickname, and it is called, what is it called, Seth?
The Widowmaker.
The Widowmaker, that's right. Now it's called this because as you are drilling into the walls of quartz, quartz is very hard and very sharp, no matter how big or small it is. That miner is breathing in that quartz dust, and it's causing what they called miner's complaint, or what we call silicosis now. Now, if because of that, when they caught a common cold or pneumonia, any sort of chest or lung infection, they would often die from it. And usually there's evidence of these men that were working on these drills when they first came out, they were usually dying 10 years earlier than the men that were working on this drill. How does that sound? Not good? If you did live past that miner's complaint, something else would have happened to you in the meantime. This drill is being powered through compressed air that's coming from the boiler house on the surface through a series of pipes. It's going into hard rock for 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, and they often didn't have any hearing protection. So what do you think happened?
Deaf.
They go deaf, that's right. And usually that started happening within the first 3 months of working on this drill. If you did have small pieces of cotton to put in your ears, congratulations, you've extended that to 6 months. Who wants to see it on?
Nope.
No, I'm going to turn it on. Now, you don't actually have to worry about any dust being created because we're not actually drilling into anything. I'm only doing it for a few seconds as well, so it's not going to do anything to your hearing. But what I need you all to do is put 2 fingers nice and tightly in your ears for me.
I just turned the hearing aids off.
So if you're going to need to block your ears as well, sir.
Yeah.
Right, take your hearing aid out.
Plug your ears.
Yeah, well, I'll get you to take her around the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, Daddy. Yeah. Hold it really tight. Tight. Don't let any sound in.
2 fingers? Yes. Just humour me.
He's deaf anyway, won't worry.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
It's quite loud.
It's pretty loud, isn't it?
Yes.
No, I just wait if my hearing aid comes on again. That's okay, doesn't it? I've listened to all those out.
Now, everything that we've seen so far today has been a part of a company mine. Is anyone thinking at this point that they would like to be a company miner? No one.
Not really.
One person wants to feed their family. How nice of you. Everyone else is pretty selfish then. Yeah. No. We're going to go have a look at an independent mine now. Remember, you have to choose at the end which one you want to be. Sorry. She's been so good the whole time, hasn't she?
Oh yeah.
First light I've seen.
Come in.
Keep coming along, guys. Keep coming along.
Last one. Okay, trapped in here. Alright, everyone, this is Alex. Say hello to Alex. Hi, Alex. Alright, give him a bit of a better hello. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hi, Alex. Alright, that's much better. He's very important to us because he's going to be getting you out of the mine today. Yeah, you know why it's good to say hello to him nicely. Alright, he'll be back a little bit later.
Accept bribes as well. Just saying, it does help.
Alright, this mine here is very different from the one that we've been walking through, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. This is an independent mine that was accidentally discovered by Sovereign Hill in 1976 when they were blasting through what was this rock wall here to extend the train tracks we're going to go on a little bit later. Now, they came in, they knew that this was an independent mine, but they weren't sure much else about it because independent miners did not have to keep records of what they were doing. So we've had some experts come in and tell us what they think was going on in here. This is what we call a stope and pillar mine, which is a Cornish technique, and we think that this was dug out between the 1860s and 1870s, so about 40 years before that North Normanby mine was even there. Now, a stope means a stepped out cavern. So you might be able to see here that these rocks form stairs. Yeah. Now, using this method in Ballarat was really good because about 20 miles all around us, all of our trees were chopped down. So wood was very hard to get and very expensive. Therefore, ladders were expensive. So using this method meant they didn't need to buy ladders. They could just climb up here and keep tapping away from the top. Now, our stope area goes back 40 feet, or roughly 15 metres behind you to a dead end, and then another 40 feet behind me to a dead end. Approximately, what angle do you think my arms are on?
45.
45 degrees, and it's running on a north-south direction as well. So that's right. What was in here?
Quartz.
Quartz, that's right. This was once filled with about 500 tonne of gold-bearing quartz. Now, we've estimated that it's taken 2 to 3 men, which was usually a family, about 2 to 2.5 years to dig this all out. Do you think that they found anything in here?
Lots of gold.
Lots of gold? You'd hope so, because would anyone go to work for 2 years without getting paid?
Nope.
No, you wouldn't be able to. So we think that they found enough gold to get by, put food on the table. They could have found more than that average yield. They could have found less. But if we do go off that average of 10 grams of gold per tonne of quartz, it equates to about 5 kilograms of gold we think has been taken out of here, which was worth quite a lot. It's worth roughly $350,000. Right. Pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, as I said, that is the stope. The pillar in this stope and pillar line. Do not turn around. You won't be able to see it. Okay. It's up behind you. It's a big quartz pillar. It runs from, that's the first group that's never turned around. I'm really impressed. It runs from about this wall here to this wall in size, the front rope to myself, and up to my shoulder in height. It does have about $3,000 worth of gold still in it. Some of it is visible from the outside. Would anyone like to go and get it? No? It's good. Because what does a pillar do?
Holds us.
Holds
the roof up.
Holds up the roof, that's right. So there's miners left that in there because what's more important than gold to them?
Getting out.
Their life, getting out, that's right. So if we take that pillar out today, thousands of tonne of rock is going to fall on us and lots of hot wax as well. Now, you might be wondering, Becky, why is hot wax going to fall on us? Well, right now we are 82 feet, or roughly 25 metres, directly underneath the candlemaker's store.
Oh,
Right. So are we all happy to leave that pillar in there?
yes.
Now, if the pillar's holding up the roof behind us, you might think that these here are little pillars for extra support. But that's not what they're here for. These, that would be the equivalent to a toothpick holding up a car. These are called talking timbers or talking toms. Now, does anyone have wooden floorboards at home? Yeah, what happens when you walk on them?
Creek.
They creak and they groan, and that's because pressure's being applied from the top. So if these start to creak and groan, it means that the rock around us is moving. And what do we need to do?
Run.
Get out.
Get out. All right. So it is an early warning system for the miners saying that there could be a rock fall. And the saying was that if the timbers start talking, we start running. Yeah. Now, for the miners that are in this particular mine, they have one way of getting in and out. Both of these, the ends of the stopes here, are dead ends. This was a solid rock wall, and this was a solid rock wall. So those entryways were made by Sovereign Hill. And there's nothing on the roof either. So how would they have got in and out?
Crawling up there.
No, that was a solid rock wall.
Oh,
Well, this looks like it's cemented.
Yeah, there was nothing on the roof.
Nothing on there.
Yeah, we just have to have that on there. That's modern mining technique so that we can bring you in.
what's that? The holes there?
That's some of this ladder here.
Yeah,
Yeah, can you all see that?
yeah.
So what these miners have actually done with their miner's right or their miner's licence for 12 foot by 12 foot on Crown land is they have dug a shaft about 90 feet down or 30 metres on the other side of this wall here. They've come across about 6 metres and we think that they found a vein of quartz 2 to 3 fingers wide. And usually where there's a little bit of quartz, there's a lot more. So they've followed it through and up into what was 500 tonne of gold-bearing quartz. Now, digging out from underneath will also allow gravity to drop that rock, so it's a lot easier to mine as well. Yeah. Now, has anyone been to the candlemaker store today?
No.
No? Next to the candlemaker store, to the right-hand side, there is a structure that looks like a wishing well. Go have a look down it because it's not actually a wishing well. It's the original entrance to this mine, so it's a great way to see how far down you've gone today, but also to picture how these men would have climbed up and down 6 days a week and worked in here for 14 hours a day. And they would have climbed up and down using a rope ladder as well. They also didn't have the cage to help lift their rock up. They actually winched it up in a kibble, which is a bucket.
Bucket and
Yeah.
carry.
Any questions? No? Who wants to be a company miner?
Company.
Yeah. Two, yeah. Who wants to be an independent miner? I know what the rest of you are going to do. Maybe open the lolly shop or the pub or the bakery on the surface. Yeah. All right. Now, unfortunately, that does end the tour for today. Alex is going to take us out on our train. Our train has long, thin bench seats on it, so what I need you all to do is when you're sitting, face this direction, which is the way that we're going. Bring your right leg over, sit on it like a bike or a horse, a donkey, whatever you want to ride. Please don't stick your arms and legs out or stand up because these beams are very hard, very real pieces of wood, and they run all the way through that drive there. Now, at the front of every carriage there is a red emergency stop button. It is for a medical emergency only. If you drop something, let Alex or myself know. One of us will walk back and get it, and we'll sell it back to you for how much today? Triple the price today.
Okay. Sounds lovely.
Yeah, pretty fair.
Alright, honey, don't lose your sunglasses. You
Depends
dropped
on
once
which
already.
All right, come on through.
Hey guys, follow me. How many have you got?
Thank you.
14.
Thank you so much.
I'm coming with you.
Oh, you come with us, okay.
How many have you got?
14.
14, okay.
5, 6, we are. Horsey, alright. Let's go. Alright, Violet having a ride. Yay, horsey.
There you guys. Get this way. This one's a good t-shirt too. Yeah, now this guy's definitely getting out.
Hey. See like this.
Let me go to the seat face that way.
Oh, this way?
Like you're riding a horse or a bike, a donkey, a unicorn, whatever it is you choose to ride. There you go. Yeah, next one, yeah.
Oh, flash on hand.
Oh, this long.
14, but anyway.
Sorry, 10, 14.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Alright, you all good?
Yep.
Watch out your head, Sydney.
Thank you, Nigel. Is it Nigel?
Alex.
Alex.
We can call him Nigel, though.
A little bit different.
I think that,
Kevin Wilson.
I think that's going to stick.
Nigel.
Kevin Wilson.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I hope you all have a great day. Nigel's going to take you back up.
That's Nigel.
That's Alex.
Yes,
But yeah, I'm going to go drive the train back for the next group. So I hope you all have a great day. Please go have a look down that shaft next to the candle makers. There's also another shaft. It's in a little green box out the front of the photography studios that you can look down. We don't have access to that independent mine, but you can have a look down it as well.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's all right.
Thanks very much.
Everybody, follow me.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Enjoy the heat. I'll be down here. Nice and cool. Yeah. Thank you. That's all right.
Watch your head, sweetie, because you almost said that. Thank you very much. Watch your head, you're too close to it. Trust me, you're close to it. It's very dark.
Over to your right, everybody. Over to your right. This way. Over to your right. Okay, everyone staying to your right. We do have a group that's about to come past. Once they come past and they get off the train, we are going to steal it from them. So just waiting right here.
Quite a good door, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Come this way. Follow me, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't talk to these people, you don't know where they're going.
Step.
Stop dreaming about yesterdays. If you were here, then you would know.
One person, different came out.